In my opinion, it's a desperate deal by a company that missed the boat for the last 5 years. I'm not surprised that they bought Red Hat. I'm surprised that it took them so long. They've been behind the cloud eight ball.
2 years ago.
Absolutely.
But does it change IBM's trajectory when it comes to the cloud business?
I think it's a piece of what they need. The question is, can they execute against the strategy? It gives them one of the pieces. But again, as you mentioned, or as Josh mentioned in the intro, Microsoft and Amazon are way ahead of the game now, and now IBM's playing catch up. And it's yet to be determined whether they can absorb this acquisition. I know they're going to run it separately and let these guys be autonomous, but it gives them one of the pieces that they probably need to become relevant again in the space.
Is Workday now in play? Is Cloudera now in play? Is Atlassian now in play?
In my opinion, we're in a cloud race right now, and they're all in play. Red Hat represented one of the few companies that had scale, more than $1 billion in revenue. And that's what's going to be needed in these transformative acquisitions. I think that based on the price that was paid by IBM, that this was a competitive situation. Without having knowledge of the deal, I would suspect that Microsoft, Oracle, and potentially Cisco were involved or looking for assets involved. I think Workday is one of those assets. Atlassian is one of those assets. ServiceNow is one of those assets that really gives you the scale that can propel you into this cloud business in a meaningful way.
So how is this going to all shake out? Are there room for multiple winners, which we're already seeing to some extent, but with Amazon Web Services at 50% of market share, according to Gartner, that's a pretty big lead.
It's a huge lead, but again, you either evolve or die, and I think that's what this is IBM's stake in the ground. If they didn't evolve their cloud business, unfortunately, we would have seen IBM, lead a slow, long bleed. So I think other companies, again, that are behind the eight ball, Cisco being one, Oracle potentially being another, are going to have to acquire other assets to become more relevant in the space.
Why now, though, Joel? What has changed? I mean, cloud computing, with all due respect, is not new. Hotmail, for Pete's sakes, is effectively cloud computing. In fact, we should probably kill the term because everything is the cloud. I mean, who's running native applications anymore? Why is it suddenly now that people are getting religion around the cloud, if you will?
I think that one of the things is that while we all believe that the cloud is running everything, believe it or not, there's still probably about 70% of the workloads that are still running on-premise. It's going to take a long time, in the next decade or two, for all of those applications to move into the cloud environment. All new applications are running in the cloud, but there's a lot of legacy that have to be moving over. And so there is still a long way to go, and you have to play catch up here, unfortunately. And there's companies that are ahead of the curve. As you mentioned, AWS has got 50% market share. Microsoft has done a phenomenal job with Azure and catching up and buying GitHub and some other assets. But other players are going to have to come along and play the game. And Workday is one of those assets, like I said, that would really propel somebody from an application perspective into the cloud, and Atlassian from an infrastructure perspective. So there are a few out there that would really make a lot of sense in our opinion.